back to the Chelsweets kitchen. With summer right around the corner and the high today being 82 degrees outside, it's time for an ice cream cake. So today we're going to be making a funfetti cookie dough ice cream cake. So there's a few things that we're going to make it with, but we're starting out with my chocolate cake base, which is amazing. It bakes perfectly flat, as you can see. I'll include the link for that. We're also going to be filling it with some edible funfetti cookie dough, which doesn't have any eggs in it, so we can eat it raw. And of course, we're going to be making some no-churn ice cream. And I know that when you first look at this list of ingredients, it kind of looks a little scary, but it tastes fantastic and it's so easy. So it's going to be made with some Cool Whip or fresh whipped cream, cream cheese, mini chocolate chips, a little bit of light brown sugar, heavy cream, and vanilla. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make our ice cream first, and then we're going to go ahead and assemble this cake. So now that we have all 16 ounces of our cream cheese in our stand mixer, we're going to add 1 cup of packed light brown sugar. Once we have our cream cheese and our light brown sugar together, we're just going to mix these on a low speed using our paddle attachment. We're also going to scrape down the sides as we're doing this just to make sure that we really get everything incorporated. Now that our cream cheese and light brown sugar are creamed together, we're going to go ahead and add in our 1/4 cup of heavy cream and 1 tablespoon of vanilla. We're then going to go ahead and mix that on a low speed. I'm also going to scrape down the sides one more time. So now that our mixture is nice and smooth, it's time to fold in our chocolate chips and our Cool Whip. So I'm going to go ahead and scrape off my paddle attachment, and then we're going to remove it. So now comes the fun part, where we're going to go ahead and fold in 16 ounces of Cool Whip, which is just 2 tubs of Cool Whip. So the Cool Whip in this recipe is what's going to keep it light and fluffy even when it's frozen, so it's going to give this ice cream cake a fantastic texture. We're going to go ahead and just gently fold this into our mixture. So now that we've gently folded our Cool Whip into our mixture, we're going to add the mini chocolate chips. So we're just going to gently fold these in as well. So the very last step here is to add our little bits of edible cookie dough. And we're also going to add a few sprinkles. So we're not going to add all of our edible cookie dough, but we are going to add roughly 3/4. So we're also going to just gently mix these in. So all of the little chocolate chips and bits of cookie dough are going to look really beautiful when we slice into this cake. So now that our ice cream is all ready to go, it's time to assemble this cake. So I have here the pan that I baked these cake layers in, and this is an 8-inch pan. If you have a springform pan, that would be ideal for this, but I actually don't have a springform pan for this size of cake layer. So I'm going to do a little baking hack to get around that. So I have cut out a cardboard round that I'm placing in the bottom of my pan. So we're going to be adding some acetate sheets around the edge of this pan to help us build up our cake layers. But first we're going to add in one of our cake layers. So I'm going to take this cake layer on the top here. I'm going to remove my parchment paper from the base. I'm going to go ahead and set it in. Now I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. So now that we've placed our cake layer back in our pan, we're going to take those acetate sheets that I was talking about, and we're just going to go ahead and line them around the edge of the pan. We're just going to stick them between the cake layer and the edge of the pan. I think we're going to end up needing 3 sheets. So I'm going to go ahead and add some of our ice cream now into here. So we want our filling to be just about as thick as our cake layers, which are roughly 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and smooth this out, and we can see how high it's coming up. Alright, so I think that's a pretty good first layer. We're going to go ahead now and add our second layer onto this cake. So remove our parchment paper and just gently nestle it in. Also, you can add a little bit of tape to your acetate sheets just to make sure they really stick together nice and tight. And now we're going to add some more ice cream. Now that our ice cream is nice and smooth, we're going to go ahead and add in our last cake layer. Again, we're just going to go ahead and press down all around. You can kind of watch the edges as you're pressing down to make sure that there aren't any big air bubbles. And now we're going to add our remaining ice cream to the top of this. So now we're going to go ahead and pop this into the freezer. So now that our cake has been in the freezer for about 8 hours, it's nice and firm to the touch. And we're going to go ahead and take it out from our molding. So in order to do that, we're just going to lift it up, place it onto the center of our cake base, and we're going to untape our acetate sheets. And if you had a springform pan, you could always dip it in some hot water and then release it to help really make it come off easily. So we're going to go ahead and just gently peel this off, and it's coming out pretty nicely. So you just want to be very gentle as you do this. Go ahead and peel all the way off. So now that our cake is unmolded, it's time for 2 more steps. So we're gonna go ahead and add on some buttercream swirls with some chocolate buttercream that I made. We're going to do these all around the top of the cake, and this is with a Wilton 1M tip. We're also going to add some sprinkles and then do a little drizzle with chocolate ganache. We're just going to do these right over these swirls. This part might get a little messy. If you want to, you can always put a cookie sheet underneath your cake stand to catch those extra sprinkles. I'm also going to add some sprinkles to the interior of the cake around the swirls. So you can see all of our sprinkles and our little bits of cookie dough that we added earlier are peeking through our No-Churn ice cream. And the next step is optional, but if you want to, you can add some chocolate ganache. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. The last step is to add our remaining edible cookie dough onto the top of our buttercream swirls. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to click the like and subscribe button below. If you want to see more of my cake creations, you can also follow me on Instagram at Chelsweets. And the recipe for all of the components of this cake are up on Chelsweets.com. So now I'm going to get to the best part, and I'm going to cut into this cake. Since our cake is fully frozen, I highly recommend running your blade under some hot water to make it easier to cut through the cake.